Hello, and welcome to another overpaid over the bar fancy football mini league video this week, or today I should say, because we've already done one this week on Arsenal. You should check that if you haven't already, because it was excellent analysis of title challenges Arsenal for the 25-26 season. Today I'm going to be looking at other clubs that might win the league, as many clubs as I can fit in about 30 minutes that are relevant not just to fantasy football, but also to the real Premier League chase in general, which is fascinating again this season. Going to start with Chelsea, go right into it. Ignore this team that you can see here. This is not my team. I've just changed some things just to hide it for a minute. Um, Plenty of fantasy picks for Chelsea that you could go for. Sanchez in goal is arguably the best value 5 million keeper, although Sells was also, depending if you think Forest will do as well defensively this season as last season, is a good pick. Also sells at 5 million. Sanchez is in a better team defensively, arguably in terms of league position, but we'll see. Um, Chelsea as a whole, their biggest problem right now is that Colwill has been injured, and that he was the big mainstay in the central defense last season. And they've even talking about buying another central defender, despite the fact they have many defenders on their books capable of playing that position. So we'll see by the end of the window, they may have bought somebody new, but even then, that they have the challenge of fitting that player into the team. So I'm not as confident as I would have been if I was a Chelsea fan about how they will do this season, because I think that's one of the players that they really, I mean, they could have afforded to lose plenty of forward players because they have so many of them, possibly Palmer accepted. Any of the others they can cope with not having, but I don't know if Cole will really hurt them. But we'll see. They have a very good defensive midfield. Don't forget that being a Chelsea central defender is not the hardest job in the world, because in front of you you have Caicedo, possibly Lavia and Enzo. So I mean, you could argue that buys them the time. Midfield picks, obviously, Cole Palmer's the most attractive one in terms of output. Don't forget that he had a difficult end of the season, and I wonder if that Club World Cup is representative of as much as people think of him hitting form again, because he was given a lot of space in that tournament. And when you give Cole Palmer space, he will do what he did. He had lots of field to run into. In the Premier League last season, he was often marked by two players, and they push him onto his right foot, which he doesn't like using. I was talking about this in the last video, and I don't see that not happening again. I think teams playing Chelsea will, in his first season, they weren't really awake to him properly, and I think last season they started. It wasn't just him falling off; that they defended better against him. I'm not sure if 10.5 personally is the best price for him. But of course, he is on penalties. He loves to shoot. He loves to make the killer passes. He gives the ball away quite a lot with those through balls, but often he'll make the killer through ball. So maybe 10.5 is a realistic price, and he does justify his ownership, which is currently uh, 39. I thought it was higher. No, 59. 59% at the moment. So it's a good idea to go with him, because if he starts firing and you don't have him, you'll lose ground to so many players. That's the argument for him, and that's the argument for also Joao Pedro, who's a striker at 7.5, and that is a very good price for a player that does look like he's going to start all the games at the beginning. Nicholas Jackson obviously is on his way out of Chelsea by the look of it. Um, he's red flagged. He's suspended until 22nd of August, but it's very unlikely he'll play, which means Delap is probably the most natural centre forward, but Joao Pedro doesn't mind playing there and does seem to fit into Chelsea's system, or at least he did in the Club World Cup seamlessly, and that was probably the most explosive start to a club career you could wish for, coming into a tournament and helping them win it with goals that were unbelievable. So they're the two, Palmer and Pedro. Well, don't call him Pedro, by the way, because it's not his surname. Although, if you're called João Pedro in Portuguese culture, or Brazilian in this case, you can call somebody Pedro as an alternative first name, but calling him Pedro is a bit weird. So uh, you can call him João Pedro. And João, by the way, let's do a pronunciation, Portuguese pronunciations. I mean, not going to get on this on the other content creators. So Ju, like the O in Portuguese is often pronounced U, not O, which is different to the other Latin languages. And the J is obviously J, and it's João. And that when you see this AO with the little thing on the top of the A, it's oh, it's kind of nasal. João. And I don't know if I'm doing it well because it's the most difficult. It's the most difficult sound in Portuguese for foreigners to pronounce, arguably. But when you say Jiao or Zhao, it really doesn't sound good at all. So try to avoid that. Just remember to get the ua, ua, or João like that. Then Portuguese people. I mean, to be fair, Portuguese people do not expect, or Brazilians do not expect you to pronounce their names correctly. It doesn't matter if you don't. It's just, and I don't get annoyed at people who don't. I'm just putting that in there. Somebody might find that interesting. One of my 5 viewers might find that interesting. Right. So let's move on. Who's the next biggest in alphabetical order in terms of title challenges? We did Liverpool, we did Arsenal. Let's do the I mean, I said on like in the last video, there are so many teams I'm looking forward to seeing this season because I've got no idea how they're going to line up, not just personnel wise, but in terms of how they click. Manchester City is definitely one of those. They've made some very interesting signings. They don't, as a big club, go for obvious signings, do they? They don't like splash out on, they didn't try and get Isak. They're not going for, I mean, not that they need him with Haaland, but like, I think their signings are really interesting. So mainly they're midfield players. You've got Cherky and Reinders. I really don't know if I'm pronouncing them correctly. Obviously Oscar Bob, everyone's forgotten about, and he was supposed to be like a big deal at the beginning of last season. Rodri has become he's injured, so I'm you know what, I'm a little bit suspicious of that as an injury. I think what's happened here is that he felt something in the Club World Cup. Um, Pep Guardiola is a big long-termer. He doesn't go for short-term stuff. And I think he's looked at Rodri and he's thought, right, there's an international break in between game week 3 and 4. I don't want him going off on that international break. Yeah. He's played too much football. He's got the World Cup at the end of the season. Let's give him a bit of a more of a break now in terms of starting matches. I think Rodri's okay. I think he's going to ease him back in. Now, it might cost them, but their fixtures early doors are not that difficult. And I think Pep's looked at them and gone, we can handle this without him. No, he may be wrong because they often struggle without him. But I think Rodri will be an excellent pick come game week 4 or 5. So I'm expecting him to come back. A lot of people have said without him, they can't win the league. I think that's probably right. But I think he will be there. And I think they'll do fine in their early fixtures without him as well. Excuse me. I'm not sure how well they'll do this season against Arsenal, Liverpool. I think both those teams are set up in a way that they can beat Manchester City. Whether they will or not, I don't know. But last season's Arsenal game, for example, I mean, both the games Arsenal could have won. They won one of them and drew the other. I don't see that being much different this season. But I could be wrong. So Marmoush is a good pick, 8.5. not on penalties, obviously. People love penalty takers in fantasy football, but he could have, he could step up from last season. He was good, very, very good last season. He could have another step up. And we mustn't forget that players that emerged as good players last season can improve this season, and he's one of them. I was loving Doku as a pick. I've bottled it now. I'm not going with him. I think he will get a lot of starts. I think Pep really likes him because of the way he takes on players. And people always go, "Oh, Pep doesn't like if you dribble." He loves Doku. Doku had more successful dribbles than any other player in the Premier League last season. So stop talking rubbish about Pep, please. Now, in defense, Guardiola and Ait-Nouri are the most obvious picks here. Guardiola did not start in the preseason, the last game. There's a slight doubt that he'll start the first game. And with that doubt, it kind of nails down Ait-Nouri as the left wing back. I would recommend Ait-Nouri at 6 million. They've signed James Trafford. Is it James Trafford? Wait. Yes, James Trafford. As a goalkeeper, people don't think that he's going to take the place from Ederson, but Ederson had some pretty shocking performances for Man City last season. Definitely his worst season as a goalkeeper. Haaland at 14 million. It's basically, excuse me, it's basically Haaland or Salah. You can't really have both, otherwise your team goes to rubbish. I was going to say something else there. Try not to swear today. Right, I predict Man City to come third. Right, Newcastle. The Isak saga has overshadowed their build up. Don't write them off though. Look at, I mean, Sven Botman, if he gets back to fitness, proper fitness, is a very good centre defender. Lewis Hall was excellent last season. He's still coming back though. He may not start. Livramento, excellent player. I mean, there's a lot of talent in this squad. Their central midfield of Tonali, Bruno Guimaraes, and Joelinton. And again, it's Joelinton on at the end. That's why Portuguese is so difficult because these nasal sounds. When you see on on the end, it's on Joelinton. And again, I mean that may not be perfect, but it's closer than you'll hear on the other places. Right. So I know you don't care about that. I'm talking to myself basically now. So I'm saying that midfield of Tonali, Joelinton, and Bruno Guimaraes is excellent. It's an excellent central midfield. Don't write Newcastle off. They have nothing up front at the moment, but it's likely that Anthony Gordon, if fit, which is not even nailed at the minute, if Anthony Gordon is fit, he will play up front, it seems, as the central striker. Okay, I'm going to say Newcastle come fifth. All right, so I'm going to go Man United. I know. I think they're interesting to look at. They have not solved the central midfield question. And unless Ugarte really, really rolls his sleeves up and becomes a very good central midfield player this season, which he could do, I think they've still got massive problems. And despite these players in attack, you can't see Sheshko here. He's on the next page, but they've got Sheshko, and Burmo and Cunha. I mean, I don't know how good Sheshko is, but Burmo and Cunha are amazing football players. But will they fit into their system? That has to be, that could take them weeks. Bruno Fernandes, I like as a pick. I really like it because of the defensive contributions. He's a bit expensive at 9.0, but because he plays every single damn game for 90 minutes and he's on penalties, I think that's an excellent pick. And I'm going to have Bruno in my squad. Do not laugh. Right. It's a shame about Lisandro Martinez because he's a really good player. He is has an injury until an unknown day. So in central defense, I might even start with Maguire again. Looks like Luke Shaw is fit, if Luke Shaw is ever fit. Um, but the wing backs are supposedly Dorgu and Ahmad, who's down as a midfield player, but will play as a wing back. I think he's on ignore at 6.5. I don't see that being worth it, to be honest. So from Man United, I only recommend Bruno Fernandes and Berman Cunha. If you really want to stick your neck out, I'd wait and see what they look like. And I predict them to finish ninth, unless they get a central midfield player before the window closes. Right. How am I doing for time? I have no idea. What's the time? What's the time? I can't see. Okay, never mind. Right. So uh, I'm gonna look at who else have we got? We've done Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City, Chelsea. They're the main four. Newcastle. Let's do Spurs. Right. Um, Popular picks will be Pedro Porro, Van de Ven because he's 4.5, Romero because he does score goals. In the midfield, Kudus is popular at 6.5. I mean, his ownership's gone down now. It's not only, oh, no, it's 24%. That's high. Um, and up front, Dominic Solanke, who didn't start in the Super Cup. 7.5 is a very good price. He's probably on penalties. I think that's an excellent pick, but he didn't start. And they got Burnley at home in the first game. It's a very good pick, but I'm not sure he's going to start that first game. I'm sure he'll start as soon as he's fully fit, every single game. Um, and I think Thomas Frank's record with strikers makes him a viable pick. And I don't have him, and I'm looking at him now thinking he's down as fully fit. Should I have him? Um, I don't rate Kudus. I never did at West Ham. I think he's fantastic with the ball. He's a liability without the ball, in my opinion. He may score the odd Wardy for Spurs. I think there's a high possibility he doesn't start every game. And although the Spurs fans don't like Brennan Johnson, I think he's a much better player. In terms of all-round team game, not in terms of technique. Obviously, Kudus is an amazing football player. Their midfield, they brought in Polina, which is not on the list here. It's very confusing this year on the desktop. Where's Polina? There he is. He's on his own on the second page. So they brought in Polina, which could really help them in terms of structure. It's a signing I love, but somebody said he's not, after his season at Bayern with not playing much football, he's looking very, very rusty. So we'll have to, again, it's a wait and see on that. But I think their central midfield with Bissouma and Polina that could protect their defense really well. And of course, they do have good defenders. I have Pedro Porro. I may not have anyone else. I think Van de Ven is a very good pick for his price. Okay. Let's go Palace. I love Crystal. Look, Crystal Palace, right? Tell me these players wouldn't get into a top four team. Munoz, I think he would. Gay, Liverpool want to sign him. Say, I obviously would. There's an argument. What's his first name? That Ismaila Sarr would get into one of those teams. There's an argument there. Adam Wharton, probably, right? And Jean-Philippe Mateta. They've got in those players. I mean, arguably, there's one or two other ones that you could consider. But they've got. I mean, Henderson's a good keeper. They've got amazing football players in this squad, and the rest of them are decent. So if they don't lose Eze, which they probably will, and if they don't use Gay, which they probably possibly will, right? Gay's now they're talking about Gay staying. If they keep Eze and Gay, I think they'll be top half with no problem whatsoever, and I think they'll give every top team a good game. Um, I have Saar at the moment. Um, I got him because I'm not sure about Eze's future, and I think 6.5 is a really good price for Saar, despite the fact he's not on penalties. Um, their fixtures early doors are quite good once they've got the Chelsea one out of the way. They play Nottingham Forest, Aston Villa away, Sunderland at home, West Ham away, but they do play Liverpool at home in 6, but then Everton away in 7. So mixed. But you could have one of if you have a Palace player, you could bring them in and out, have one on the bench when they got a difficult fixture. So I'll do one more team and then we'll look at my team, okay? And I'm gonna choose Villa because we haven't looked at them yet. Um, Martinez is suspended until 23rd of August. That is that 1 week. That's one game. The back Konsa is 4.5. Now, this is a player that doesn't typically pick up a lot of points in terms of defensive contributions or CBIT, as it is for defenders, clearance, blocks, interceptions, tackles. Um, but 4.5 is a very good price for a defender for a top team. It's unclear whether Matson will start over um, what's his name? Luca Dean. Where is he? There. Yeah, Luca Dean Matson will be fighting it out for the what is it? The left back position. Um, which rules Alex Moreno out altogether, probably. Pau Torres had a very mixed season last year, and I think it'll probably be Mings and well, yeah, no, Mings and Pau. Yeah, they'll probably start central defense. So midfield, Morgan Rogers is doubtful. Ankle injury. I don't like ankle injuries. He's doubtful. So 7.7 million is a very good price for Rogers. I'm surprised he's not 7.5. Tielemans isn't a bad pick. McGinn may not have a full season. Otherwise in midfield, they haven't brought in anyone. Let's check the other page because yeah, this player Evan Guesson. I think he's French. I'm not sure. Might well start for Villa. Um, so midfield is a bit difficult to predict in terms of starters. They've got players like Buendia, Leon Bailey, and Marlen, and they're all good, and it's difficult to know which of those starts over the other one. I think Watkins up front for 9 million. I'm 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 definitely starting with Watkins. Their fixtures. Look at those fixtures: Newcastle, Brentford, Crystal Palace, Everton, Sunderland, Fulham, Burnley. I mean, I think you need a Villa player. I think you need a Villa player with those fixtures. For me, it's Watkins. Right. Now, let's look at my team. This is my team. Now, what I've done here, instead of going for Salah, I'm going for Haaland and I'm going for Saka. And this is not on the basis of Arsenal's fixtures because Arsenal's fixtures are much tougher than the other big teams. This is based on the fact that I believe Arsenal will start strongly and I think they're going to be a very strong team this season. I may be wrong. And Saka is an amazing football player. He's as good as Cole Palmer, if not better. I think within that Arsenal team and the new signings, Gyökeres, Arsenal, Adam and Freddie were saying that Gyökeres can take away some attention from Saka, which they didn't have that centre forward last season. So Saka got a lot of attention and wasn't fully fit some of the time. And he's supposed to be fully fit. I'm banking on him um, to do well. It's a big shot. It's a big gamble because Cole Palmer's fixtures are way better. Obviously, I've not got Mo Salah. Um, huge risk. I'm willing to take it. If I was super worried about my rank, I wouldn't. I am super worried about my rank. I mean, if I wasn't, if I was playing safe, I wouldn't have Saka. And actually, I don't think it's a great shout. But I want to make it interesting. Our mini league has, um, you know, I'm not just thinking about my mini league. I'm thinking about my overall rank, and I'm thinking like, if I'm right, this could really give me a leg up on some of the Cole Palmer owners because I'm a bit suspicious Chelsea will not kick off that well given their summer commitments. Um, okay. Now, you may say I'm an idiot to have Bruno Fernandes, but I've already explained why I've got him there. And I think Saka, Bruno, Haaland, and Watkins will get me plenty of points. I'm kind of relying on all four of them to have a good start, and I think they will. Haaland doesn't need any explanation. Man City's fixtures are great. I don't know why you wouldn't have Haaland actually, but of course, Mo Salah is why you wouldn't have Haaland, which makes sense. I've got Cody Gakpo just because he's low owned and at his price. Very nice option. Um, and I would say Gakpo can score a goal every other game. And he's 7 million or 7.5. He's 7.5. So I've gone with him. I haven't gone with Verts because of money. I've saved 1 million to put into my defense. And what I've done here is I've built a team that in game week 2 can bench boost. Now it's a little bit risky because Dubravka isn't ready to start yet for Burnley, and the same and Krupi Jr., this new player for Bournemouth, who does look really, really good. We don't know if he's going to start at all. So I might. The other thing is I could have gone for Guiu from Sunderland instead of Krupi Jr., but um, Guiu is also not starting for Sunderland, so he might do in game week 2. So Burnley play Sunderland in game week 2, so I can put in Esteve, and that, by the way, that's Esteve. Yeah, Esteve can come in game week 2. I like De Kuiper. I haven't seen him play. I mean, I'm going to be honest, but I like what I've seen, what I've read about him and his price, and the fact that I'm spreading my money around the teams. So if you can see here, Arsenal, I've got 2 Arsenal players in my starting 11, and that's it. I don't have 2 players from any other team because I'm not sure how everyone's going to start. I'm not 100% sure. I'm banking on Arsenal. I'm gambling on Arsenal. Gabriel instead of Virgil van Dijk. I said I was going to have Virgil van Dijk for sure. I've changed my mind because of Liverpool's central midfield problems right now. Gravenberch is still out, and that does affect their ability to defend. McAllister's not 100% fit. He's supposed to be ready for Friday evening, but I don't believe it. I think that Slot was lying this morning in the press conference. I don't see McAllister starting tomorrow night, but I could be wrong. Because I think he knows that they're vulnerable that way, and I think he doesn't want the other managers to know. So even if McAllister does start, I still think they've got problems defending without Gravenberch. So Ismail Sarr, a bit of a gamble, 6.5. I don't have enough penalty takers in midfield. I've only got 2. That's also possibly a mistake. I'm thinking about wildcarding in game week 3 if things aren't going well. 3 or 4, probably 4. I'll give it 3 weeks before I wildcard. I don't mind wildcarding early, doesn't bother me. 1 year I wildcarded in game week 2, and it actually was quite a good decision, I think. So Tarkovsky gets loads of. Actually, you know what? I don't think it's pronounced Tarkovsky because he's English. And although he's probably got Polish heritage or something or whatever it is with that surname, I think he's grown up pronouncing it Tarkowski. And when I see him on videos, I'm pretty sure he pronounces it Tarkowski, which sounds like something from an American movie. like the Big Lebowski, whatever it's called. Anyway, yeah, yeah, Tarkowski, I think is the correct pronunciation. But anyway, obviously, I'm very interested in pronunciation, and if you're not, this video has been a bit of a shambles. But talking to myself, I love it. So, um, he gets a lot of defensive contribution points, CBIT, clearance blocks, interception, tackles. And for that reason, I've got him in there just to have one player that's good for that. So when he keeps a clean sheet, he might get 8 points. He might get more if he gets a bonus. Um, Gabriel's not so great for that. I don't think De Kuyper will be either, but we'll see. And I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Um, so on the bench, Dewsbury Hall, he's only 5 million, and I think he will play every game for Everton. I think he'll be first in. Everton, I've heard different opinions on Everton. They've got new signings that look like they're improved. They look like they've improved their team, but I've heard people saying that, especially up front, they're not going to cause problems to other teams. So it's a bit of a gamble having two Everton players in my squad. Most weeks I'll probably have Dewsbury Hall on the bench um, with a 4-4-2. Uh, and that does restrict me a bit. I'm kind of wedded to 4-4-2 with this. Krupi Jr. is a very long shot. He may end up starting and doing well for Bournemouth, but probably not. So I'm a bit worried about that. I'm obviously going to be watching Friday night's Liverpool Bournemouth game in complete trepidation. It won't be an enjoyable experience for me. Fantasy football doesn't always make Premier League games enjoyable. Obviously, by the 85th minute, if Salah still hasn't scored, I'll be chuckling away to myself. But you know, even then, there'll be 5 minutes left where he could score twice. Um, I think this season has so much potential. And I'm hoping that these players, and I've chosen players that are not new signings on the whole. All my more expensive players are players that were not brought in fresh. I haven't got João Pedro. I haven't got Verts, for the reason that they're new signings, and whatever preseason you see, Gyökeres same. I don't trust it. I don't trust it as until I've seen it, because I've done this before. I've signed players new to English football, and it doesn't always go well. I mean, Haaland was probably a no-brainer because of the way Manchester City played and having Kevin De Bruyne behind him. But I'm going to say that this team is guaranteed to score points on a pretty regular basis. For that reason, I'm going to stick with it for 3 game weeks, maybe with the odd tweak here and there. Price rises in game week 1 and 2 sometimes can really hurt you if you don't get on a player that's going up in price. But I'm fairly hopeful this will do okay. Also, I've allowed it gives other players a chance. I mean, if you're chasing me, I do recommend you pick Salah instead of Haaland. If you're chasing me, it's an obvious thing to do. If you think, okay, it won't be me you're chasing this season, it could be another player. I mean, that's also reasonable, because why am I guaranteed to do well again? I'm not. So I think concentrating on your own team's a good idea, but don't look at. I mean, that's the other thing. Don't look at other people so much. Although I've done that. I've done that. To be fair, I've done that. I mean, I've gone for Haaland because people are going for Salah as much as anything else. So it is part of the game to do that. So don't let me tell you what to do either. Right. A bit crazy, a bit rambling. Um, Not planned. I just pick up the microphone and talk. I mean, I'm sorry if that's not, I mean, I'm sure that isn't. I enjoy doing these. It's an interesting thing to look back sometimes to see what you said. Not that I do that much, but you never know. Right now I've really lost it. Okay, so Thank you so much for joining me on this video. Good luck. I won't see you again before next week. Next week, I'll have a guest on to talk about game week 1 and looking ahead to game week 2. Uh, Everybody, good luck with your teams. Remember that football is primarily there to be enjoyed, and it's something we do, to get away from the stresses and troubles of life and help us enjoy something. So when you get frustrated, when something doesn't go the way you want, either your team loses or your fancy players don't do so well, um, remember that this is the reason why that's bad is because we have other stuff that's good, if that makes sense. So, you know, every Exeter City victory that happens in my life is a huge joy for me, and I don't let the defeats up. I mean, we last night we sent a second string team to Cheltenham in League Two, and it was a terrible team we put out, and we lost to a second string team in the first round of the League Cup. And I must say, watching it on, I was able to watch it, and it wasn't a pleasant experience. But today we're out the League Cup, whatever, you know. um, I mean, not getting relegated is the main is the main thing for us this season. Right. Have a good day, everyone. Have a good season, and I hope you enjoy the first weekend. I'll see you next week on probably Wednesday next week. Take care. Bye bye.